It all started with an act of generosity so grand that it made headlines. A wealthy businessman, a man whose name carried weight in boardrooms and high-rise offices, shocked everyone one morning when he handed out 4 unlimited credit cards, each to a different woman. The world buzzed with curiosity. Who were these women? Why them? And what would they do with a card that could unlock almost anything money could buy? But as the story unfolded, no one, not even the man himself, could have imagined that the most unexpected twist would come not from the women he chose, but from the quiet maid who had always worked in the shadows of his mansion. Before I take you deeper into this extraordinary journey, pause for a moment, because what you're about to hear is more than a story. It's a reflection of kindness, sacrifice, and what truly matters in life. If you believe stories like this can inspire change, please take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and don't forget to subscribe to Kindness Corner. And I'd love to know your thoughts as the story unfolds, so comment your feelings as you listen, because your voice adds power to stories like these. The businessman, Adrian Cole, was known in the city as both ruthless in competition and endlessly charitable in his personal life. Some said he gave away money to soothe his conscience, others whispered that he simply enjoyed watching the world marvel at his wealth. But Adrian himself rarely explained his actions. One morning, without warning, he invited 4 women into his towering glass mansion. Each woman's life was different, yet each bore a weight of struggle that had carved lines into their faces and shadows into their eyes. The first was a widow raising 3 children, working night shifts at a hospital. The second was a young entrepreneur drowning in debt despite her relentless efforts to keep her dream alive. The third was an aging teacher whose pension had vanished due to a fraudulent scheme. The fourth was a social worker, tired and worn, who gave every ounce of her being to the poor but never had enough left for herself. To each of them, Adrian handed an unlimited credit card. No strings, no explanations, just a card and a quiet nod. The women were stunned, disbelief crashing into their hearts. To them, it felt like the opening of a golden gate, a key to dreams that had long been locked away. News spread, cameras followed, and people cheered. Some called him a modern-day hero, others labeled him reckless. But none could look away. And yet, in that same mansion, as the world focused on the 4 women with the golden cards, there was someone unseen. A woman who moved quietly through the halls, polishing the marble floors, washing crystal glasses, and keeping her head bowed. Her name was Rosa. She was the maid. For years she had worked in Adrian's mansion, her presence so steady it had almost become invisible. She had watched him entertain powerful guests, host glittering galas, and perform grand acts of charity. But never once had Rosa been noticed. To most, she was part of the background, like the chandeliers or the velvet curtains, useful, but unremarkable. Rosa's life was nothing like the women who now held cards worth millions. She lived in a small room near the mansion's back gate, where the walls were thin and the mattress sagged. Every evening, after hours of scrubbing and sweeping, she would sit on her bed and carefully count the few dollars she saved each week. Almost all of it went back home, to a little village across the ocean, where her mother was ill and her younger brother was still studying. Rosa's dream wasn't to buy luxury clothes, nor to dine in 5-star restaurants. Her dream was much simpler, to see her family smile again, to rebuild their crumbling house, to put her brother through school. While the 4 women were celebrated for what they did with their unlimited cards, Rosa continued her work in silence. But she was watching. She watched as the widow filled her cart with toys and clothes for her children, her face glowing with joy. She watched the entrepreneur finally invest in her failing business, turning it around with resources she never thought she'd have. She watched the retired teacher rebuild her life, paying off debts and even starting a small library for children in her neighborhood. She watched the social worker expand her outreach, feeding hundreds more mouths and clothing the homeless. And Rosa, though happy for them, felt an ache deep inside. It wasn't jealousy, no, it was something heavier. A question that haunted her: what if she had even a fraction of what they had been given? Then came the day when everything changed. Rosa had been cleaning the study when she found an envelope tucked beneath a stack of books. Inside was a smaller card, shiny, elegant, untouched. Another unlimited card. Adrian must have set it aside and forgotten it. For several minutes Rosa stood frozen, the card heavy in her trembling hands. Her mind raced. This card could change everything. One swipe, and her mother's medical bills would vanish. Her brother could study without fear. Her family could finally breathe. The temptation was overwhelming. But Rosa did something no one expected. She didn't keep it. She didn't even try to use it. Instead, she went to Adrian's office, knocked softly, and placed the card on his desk. Her voice was steady, but her eyes glistened as she said, "Sir, I found this while cleaning. I think it belongs to you." Adrian looked up, stunned. In that moment, something shifted inside him. He had given away fortunes without blinking, but here was a woman who had every reason to take the card for herself, yet chose honesty instead. He dismissed her gently that day, but her words lingered in his mind long into the night. Who was Rosa, really? What kind of strength did it take to return something that could solve all her problems? The following week, Adrian called Rosa into the main hall. The four women with the cards were already there, radiant and grateful, their lives blossoming. Cameras had been invited again, expecting another round of headlines. But Adrian surprised them all. In front of everyone, he walked to Rosa and handed her not just a card, but something more. He announced that he was establishing a trust fund in her name, enough to rebuild her family's home, cover her mother's treatment, and secure her brother's education. The hall went silent before applause thundered like a storm. Rosa wept openly, her hands covering her face, her heart too full to contain. The women with the golden cards embraced her, realizing that though they had been given much, Rosa's gift was different. Hers was not in wealth, but in character, in the courage to do what was right when no one was watching. From that day, the world remembered not just the four women with unlimited cards, but the maid who had done something no one expected. Adrian himself admitted in an interview later, "I gave wealth to many, but Rosa gave me wisdom. She reminded me that integrity is priceless." And so, the story lived on, not just in news headlines, but in hearts. It became a beacon of hope for those who believed kindness and honesty still had a place in the world. Before we close, I want to ask you something from the heart. Stories like Rosa's are reminders that goodness shines brightest in unexpected places. If this story touched you, please share it, like it, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. But more importantly, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below about what part of Rosa's story moved you the most. Your thoughts may inspire someone else who reads them, and together, we can spread the ripple of hope even further. Because in the end, wealth may fade, but the choices we make, the ones born from honesty, sacrifice, and love, are the true treasures that change the world.